What if I told you that the richest king in the land lost everything because he refused to give a single coin to a beggar? This ancient tale holds a mirror to our souls. And by the end, you'll understand why this beggar's words have the power to transform lives. The beggar's name was Ragav, but 20 years earlier, he wasn't a beggar at all. He was King Ragav, the magnificent, ruler of Chandanpur, the sandalwood city. His treasury was legendary, his armies undefeated, his pride boundless. One day, a wandering monk came to his court and said, "Your Majesty, wealth without wisdom is a palace built on sand." King Ragav laughed. "Old man, I have more gold than you have prayers. What could you possibly teach me?" The monk simply smiled and said, "One day you will understand." 3 months later, drought struck. The rivers dried, crops failed, his people starved. But King Ragav refused to open his treasury. "They must learn to survive on their own," he declared. "I will not weaken them with charity." Within a year, his kingdom collapsed. His people revolted. His wealth was seized. And King Ragav became a beggar, wandering the roads, surviving on scraps. Decades later, Ragav found himself at the gates of another palace, King Devendra's in Suryagar, the Sunfort. And history was repeating itself. While King Devendra dined on delicacies, his people outside the palace walls were starving. A mother couldn't feed her children. An old man collapsed from hunger. A young girl begged for water. But King Devendra never looked beyond his golden gates. Because when you live in luxury, suffering becomes invisible, until one beggar forced him to look. On the hottest day of summer, Ragav approached the palace. His feet were bleeding. His throat was dry. His bowl was empty. He stopped at the gates just as King Devendra emerged, surrounded by servants. "Your Majesty, I haven't eaten in 3 days. Could you spare even the smallest?" Before he could finish, King Devendra snapped. "How dare you approach me? Guards, remove this disgusting creature from my sight. The very sight of him pollutes my palace." The guards moved forward, but Ragav didn't flinch. His eyes locked with the king's. "Your Majesty," he said calmly, "I ask not for your gold or your jewels. I ask for something far more precious, something you claim to possess in abundance." King Devendra scoffed. "And what would that be, you pathetic fool?" Ragav whispered. "Compassion." Silence fell. Even the guards hesitated. Devendra laughed harshly. "Compassion? For you? You're nothing. Why should I care about?" Raghav's voice cut through him like thunder. "Because I once stood exactly where you stand now." The king's laughter died. Confusion washed over his face. Ragav continued. "I wore robes of silk. I ruled Chandanpur with 10,000 soldiers. I believed my wealth made me invincible. I believed the poor deserved their poverty. I believed compassion was weakness." He told him of the drought, the starving people, and his refusal to help. Then he lifted his empty bowl toward King Devendra like a mirror. "A king who cannot see the suffering of one beggar will never see the suffering of his entire kingdom. Look at this bowl, Your Majesty. It is empty, just like your heart. And when your people cry out, when they starve, when they suffer, when they desperately need you, you will hear nothing, because you have trained yourself to look away. True wealth is not measured by what you hoard in your treasury. It is measured by what you give when someone is in need. A king without compassion is not a king at all. He is just a rich man, waiting to lose everything." That night, King Devendra couldn't sleep. The beggar's words echoed in his mind. "I am what you will become." He walked to his window and looked at his kingdom. For the first time, he truly looked. He saw the mother unable to feed her children, the old man who had collapsed, the little girl begging for water, all the suffering he had trained himself not to see. And he realized the beggar was right. His heart was empty. His bowl was empty. He had everything and nothing. The next morning, everything changed. King Devendra opened his treasury not to count his gold, but to feed his people. He walked among them not as a ruler above them, but as a servant beside them. He listened to their stories. He saw their struggles. He felt their pain. And slowly, the empty bowl of his heart began to fill. The beggar never returned. Some say he was a wandering sage. Others say he was a divine messenger. But King Devendra knew the truth. The beggar was a mirror, showing him what he had become and what he could still choose to be. So here's the question this story asks us today. How many beggars have you turned away? Not only those asking for money, but anyone who needed compassion, time, attention. And we looked away because it was inconvenient. The coworker struggling who we ignored. The family member in pain we dismissed. The stranger asking for help we pretended not to see. We all have a treasury. Maybe it's not gold, but it's time, energy, kindness, attention. And every day, we choose, do we hoard it or do we give it? The beggar taught King Devendra that true wealth isn't what you keep, it's what you share. True power isn't control, it's compassion. And true wisdom isn't found in palaces or books. It's found in the courage to see what we've been taught to ignore. The empty bowl is waiting. The question is, will you fill it? If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And until next time, may your bowl always overflow.